Today I'm going to provide an overview of the Red Screen Clean Energy Management software, our all-in-one platform, and also provide a snapshot of new features that have been added over this past year. Our platform enables low-cost energy planning, implementation, monitoring, and reporting. You can download the software from our website free of charge in viewer mode at redscreen.net. The software itself is available in 38 languages that cover two-thirds of the world's population. Since 1998, the Red Screen software now has more than 900,000 users in every country of the world. We typically release 1 to 2 new versions of the software each year and updates. In this past year, our growth has accelerated from up to about 50,000 new users per year. The top 30 countries in this past year in terms of number of downloads are shown there on the right-hand side. When you download the software onto your computer, the first screen that you see is the file worksheet. This is the main homepage of the software. If we focus in on the circle in the middle and look at the outer rim of the circle, there are three main modules in the software at an individual facility level. There's a benchmark analysis module to do quick energy and greenhouse gas analysis. There's then, going around the circle, the bottom half there, a feasibility analysis module to help you determine the feasibility of potential projects and improvements to facilities. And then the top left quadrant is then the performance analysis module, where that is actually where you measure and verify the ongoing performance of your facility and track your improvements over time. Within the inner circle there are essentially a series of worksheets, starting with location and then facility, going around the circle, then energy analysis, cost analysis, emissions, finance, risk analysis, and then back into the performance analysis module, a data worksheet, and then an analytics worksheet where things like regression analysis are done, and then back to reporting. And it's shown as a circle because it's a continuous process over the life of a facility. And those worksheets are also shown in tabs across the top of the software. Now, a fourth module is in the bottom left corner, and that is actually a portfolio analysis module that integrates all of those individual facility analyses and files into one or multiple portfolio analysis modules and files. So you can, with that, look at your entire portfolio and analyze the entire portfolio and do things like greenhouse gas reporting and energy analysis, financial analysis for an entire portfolio of facilities or a fleet of power plants, for example. The second column from the right is just some of the typical facilities that are analyzed with the Red Screen software. So all sorts of power plants, from photovoltaics to wind to hydro to gas turbines, steam turbines, etc. And then we have power, heating, and cooling models. So or any combination of that. So combined heat and power, but also including things like district energy. And then we have models for integration of storage, electricity storage into power systems for both on and off grid systems. And then we have a series of real property, or typically referred to as energy efficiency models, and these are for all sorts of facilities, such as industrial and agricultural, but commercial institutional buildings, residential facilities from apartments right down to individual homes, all sorts of military facilities, such as hangars and barracks and things like that. And then you can also go right down to individual measures if you want, such as looking at just solar water heaters, for example, or just lighting projects. And we also have transportation modules or models where we look at both ground transportation, but also for air and for marine transportation. Over at the top left corner of the software, starting out with the software, one of the best places to start is to use what's called our virtual energy analyzer, which we've built into the software. So if you click on that, it's going to open the virtual energy analyzer. In this case, I'm using the example when you open the software, which is actually our facility in Varennes, Quebec, just outside of Montreal. So in the virtual energy analyzer, we've built in a series of archetypical facilities, from a whole bunch of different types of power plants, etc., as I described earlier, but also uh, specifically in this case, for commercial institutional buildings, for laboratories, for shopping malls, for libraries, for data centers, etc. Um, and then within those archetypes, we've actually, over the last 5 years, and just added a bunch recently, we've developed both what we consider cost effective archetypes. Those are typically focused on 30 to 40% energy savings. And then we've developed a whole new series of deep retrofit archetypes that look to target 80 to 90% greenhouse gas emissions reduction at facilities. And we just added a whole bunch for all sorts of industrial facilities, for embassies and consulates and data centers, etc. And the idea is in the top left corner with just 4 or 5 clicks of mouse and locating where you are in the world, the software will very rapidly, literally within seconds, prepare a pre-feasibility study for your facility. So I'm going to click through and start to show you, give you an overview of the software, uh, and also show you some of the new features that are added. So the first sheet after running the virtual energy analyzer is the location worksheet. So this is just information about your location. And the most important thing for energy modeling, of course, in the location is local climate data. So things like temperatures and heating and cooling degree days, solar radiation, wind speeds, things like that. So the software does all of that automatically for you when you click on the map. And on the top right corner there, it's extracting data from our climate database. We have 6,900 ground stations worldwide. And then the rest of the locations worldwide are filled in by NASA satellite data. Um, and then that information is used to then model your facility. Um, the archetypes and if you start from scratch yourself without using archetypes, you enter information about the facility itself. So again, here's our facility in Varennes. And you do things like benchmarking a facility and setting targets for energy reduction or emissions reduction, like was shown here on the dashboard. And one new feature we've added over the past year and have improved is we've added a meters database. So you click on this little icon over here, and you can enter information specific to your various meters, such as utility meters or any sub-metering you're doing, or sensors, etc. And then that information can be used for your ongoing monitoring, measurement, verification. If I click on the energy model, the software that when you run the virtual energy analyzer, then runs an automatic analysis for you, looking at both a base case system and a proposed case system. Calculates the cost for you, calculates the energy savings for you, calculates the greenhouse gas emissions, etc. So it's all done for you automatically. Again, using this dashboard tool that I mentioned, which you click on it in the ribbon. I like using this tool because then you can summarize key information. So how much heating, cooling, and electrical plug loads are used before and then after in your proposed case, and then the actual savings. Another nice tool I like to use is this target tool. In fact, in the room you click here, because this floats between worksheets, and you can, if you play certain what if scenarios for key metrics, like how much fuel consumption, how much greenhouse gas emissions, how much fuel cost savings do your various measures save you. And then, so this is a summary of all the various measures for this facility. And then the energy modeling is done for the whole facility, but based on individual for each individual measure. So, for example, if I look at lights, just for the office building, so the model this is typical of other models like heat pumps, fans, motors, photovoltaics, things like that. So basically, your base case, in this case, fluorescent T5 lamps. ballast, electronic ballast, versus switching over to light emitting diodes or LEDs in the proposed case. We have product data to help you select your products that you use, and we have a built-in cost database by clicking on this icon here, and it opens up cost data that then can paste in the values for you to help you make your analysis much quicker and much more accurate. Um, the and then on the cost data worksheet, in addition to these costs, if you want to add more detailed costs, you can also do that, or a very specific cost to your location. So we can customize it even more. And for example, we have built into the software various tools for doing more detailed calculation. In this case, a ground heat exchanger tool if you're installing ground source heat pumps, either vertical, horizontal, or groundwater. And then, of course, very important are emission savings. So the software automatically calculates the greenhouse gas emission savings for your various type of projects, from power projects to efficiency, cogeneration, etc. It does it for every country in the world. And so wherever your project is located, it does it for you automatically. And in the most recent version of the software, we've added a dynamic emissions factors database for the entire planet. And this data is useful because not only does it give 1 year average, but it goes back in time where data is available so that you can look at historical greenhouse gas emissions, for example, for your electric grid, what it was a decade ago versus now, because that's important in terms of your overall reporting when you start to look at doing greenhouse gas reporting. And also you can use it to do projections into the future. And that becomes important, for example, for creating net zero plans. Of course, then the software, which is very important, does the financial analysis for you automatically. Calculates key things like net present value, simple paybacks, internal rates of return. Uh, it summarizes all the key parameters and cash flows. It has income tax analysis, etc. And through the dashboard, you can look at your various cash flow sheets. Related to the financial analysis and the energy model, we also have a risk analysis module and a sensitivity analysis. So this section on the left here is a sensitivity analysis, in this case looking at net present value, and then what if you vary, for example, the initial cost and the fuel costs, what impact does it have on the net present value? So the software does that for you automatically. And then we also have a sophisticated risk analysis module that runs a Monte Carlo simulation, can run the model up to 5,000 different random scenarios, and then helps you determine which are actually the key parameters in terms of your overall economics, and does probability distribution to tell you, is this project going to make sense? Is it going to make you go bankrupt, etc. Okay, so this has all been in the feasibility analysis module, and now we're going to move over to the performance analysis module. And so at the core of the performance analysis module is the data worksheet. So this is where you store data, where you're doing measurements and monitoring to bring in data, such as electric and gas utility data, water utility data, etc., plus climate weather data on either typically daily or hourly basis. So the data is brought in, entered here, stored here, or connected here through automated connectors. We've recently in the release improved the tree structure, so you can actually create your own folders now, and it just makes it, when you get into when you do very detailed analysis like I'm showing here, it enables you to allows you to organize your data and how you want to see it. So that's been an improvement recently. And we've created in the top left corner here a new custom database tool that allows you essentially to do any sort of data. You can track refrigerants. You can track how many computers you have. You can use it as a customer relation management system. You can do greenhouse gas reporting just using that tool, or sustainability reporting. So it's a generic custom database that gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility. But then, of course, this data then is used in the analytics worksheet. And so there's a lot in this worksheet. This is where we do, for example, regression analysis. So we can normalize data, based on parameters such as outdoor temperatures. And and then use it to do things such as, following standard protocols and such as for measurement and verification of your facilities. So this is what energy managers, consultants do, energy service companies, etc. Um, so just quickly, so this graph I'm showing is the measurement verification of actual data versus predicted data for our facility in Montreal. It's natural gas consumption. So in 2006, we created a baseline using regression analysis, which is on the left-hand side here, and using um, regression analysis and outdoor temperature. Um, our model predicts, given those temperatures, how much uh, gas would be consumed, which is the blue top lines there. And then we implemented a series of energy efficiency and low carbon measures, such as installing electric boilers. And then, so the bottom line, the bottom green line is the actual natural gas consumption, and the shaded area is the the normalized natural gas savings. And this is standard process for measurement verification and for energy managers. Another new tool we've added in as part of this last release, just as an example, is we've created a weather bin tool that can used across the globe, where you can create your own weather bins on an hourly basis. And this, for those that work in heating and cooling, this is an extremely valuable tool because you can use it to help design and size heating and cooling equipment, and also calculate the expected consumption over a year, over a period of time. And also it has built into it a design temperature, design condition tool. So for example, if you're following ASHRAE, 99% conditions, etc., for heating and or cooling. The software, you will be able to calculate that automatically for your local or wherever site in the world that you're working. So extremely valuable new tool that's been offered. So then the software takes all of this information and automatically creates reports, and all of this information and everything is available in 36 languages. 38 languages. And then we also have a custom dashboard tool that allows you to create your own detailed reports and your own kiosks that you might show and display in a reception area, for example. But one of the new features we've recently added as part of our ongoing commissioning project to improve the software and make it useful for ongoing commissioning and improving facilities on an ongoing basis, and the performance both on energy and greenhouse gases. And so in that tool, we've created bulletins that can be then shared with various key stakeholders and are automatically produced using the data. So there are three levels of bulletins right now. Level 1 bulletin uses annual data, and that's typically targeted at sustainability managers. A level 2 bulletin uses monthly data. That's typically from gas, electric bills, water bills, etc., and that's targeted typically at energy managers. And then the third automatic balloon we've created, level 3, is it uses typically hourly data or even shorter time steps like 15 minutes. And that's typically targeted at facility operators. So that's all available now with the new tool. And then to make all these bulletins and all of the graphs we have, etc., we've created automated data connectors. And those automated data connectors, we have direct connections into Energy Star Portfolio Manager, etc. And then all of the data in the portfolio module are aggregated up. You can combine all your different facilities and do an analysis at the portfolio level. Up in the ribbon here, you can create a new annual report that has been added. And then the second part of this portfolio, we've added a meters view. So those meters that I showed added earlier, we now have a tree structure so you can actually track all those meters by facility for your entire portfolio. in the dashboard worksheet, for example, for your entire portfolio, all your facilities, you can track greenhouse gas emissions, fuel consumption, etc., to see how you're actually doing, and for mandatory reporting. There's a tool in there to do net zero planning. It's an automated tool. How do you get your facility down to net zero? For things like energy efficiency measures, electrification of heating, on-site renewables, etc.